Hey YouTube, I'm gonna do a video today on my pliers set. Now this is by no means all the pliers that I have, but this is some of the most common ones that you'll see out there. If you're starting a new toolbox, I'll point you to which ones you should get. You definitely don't need all of these. This is I've done a lot of work over the years, and I've accumulated a lot of tools over the years, and every time I have a special application, I buy a special set of tools. So I have a lot of pliers, I have a lot of wrenches, I have a lot of sockets, I have a lot of screwdrivers. But I'm going to do a series of some of the basic tools, and I'm also going to make a video about how to make a basic toolbox. So I'm going to talk about some of my pliers today, and I'll go through them one by one. Okay. Forgive the camera work. I got a pretty low budget tripod here. So the first one I'm going to start with is the trusty channel lock pliers. Okay, these are channel lock brand pliers. I think these are the 12 inch pliers, mostly used for plumbing applications, for taking out large nuts on plumbing systems, and taking out grease caps from axle nuts and things like that. Very common pliers. These are called the tongue and groove type, because if you see the groove and you can adjust, you see the groove here and you can adjust different sizes, so they call this a tongue and groove type pliers. They make them in a couple different sizes. Here's a slightly smaller one, and they make them all the way down to a very small size. Get that out of the way. This is also another version of the water pump pliers. These are called these are European, these are Craftsman, but they're Kinepex with the Craftsman brand on them. These have a little button here that you can adjust. I'm not a big fan of moving parts. I really prefer this one because there's zero moving parts on this one. This one's got a spring and it's got some kind of retaining clip, and it's got a screw there. And in 20 years, that screw's going to be gone probably, and these pliers are going to go in the trash because the stuff's lost. But they've made a very hard metal. They work really good, and they have a lot more settings, adjustments, than the old traditional channel lock pliers do. Again, this one comes in a large and small size. Next tool, and very, very important for your collection, is a pair of needle nose pliers. Not only a pair of needle nose pliers, but a pair of good needle nose pliers. Okay, these are channel locks. They have the cutter. They make ones without a cutter also. These have a crosshatch pattern here on the inside, and the jaws are very rigid. So when you're taking something off, these are not designed for you to grab something and try to twist it off. That's not the job of these pliers. These pliers are designed to fit in small places and do a certain job. And you can't treat these like you treat a normal set of pliers. Okay. Next up is your traditional dikes or side cutters or angle cutters. Okay, these are also channel lock. Channel lock is probably one of the better makers of these dikes for budget. These probably cost under $20. I used to have a set of proto dikes that were just amazing. I mean, I'd cut hardened nails with them and hardened wire, and you can hold. The way you check a dike is after you cut it, you hold it up to light and you look to see if you can see any light seeping through here. You don't see any light with these. You didn't see any light with the Protos. I'm sure Snap-on and Mac and Matco and others make good ones too, but these, for a budget, go to Home Depot, you get these babies. A variation of the dike is the angle, is the offset dike. This is the same job as that one, except you can get a little bit more leverage. You can pull a nail and pry it up. This is great for taking out cotter pins. If you have a cotter pin on a car, you just kind of stick it on there and it gets a good bite on it, and just keep on working it out gently. This is also a very long handle plier, so you get a lot of cutting power with this thing. These pliers will cut through just about anything. Up next, here's a pair of Klein electrician's crimping and cutting tool. This is used for cutting wires, and this is used for crimping terminals if you do that kind of work. If you want to splice wires together, or if you want to do some electrical work, these are what you need. This is also a very long handle pliers. Looks like almost 11 inches maybe long, and good hardened, sharpened cutting edge here. Also a very, very, very good pair of pliers. Klein is known for making good electrical tools. This is a new one. I just got it. This is what they call a lineman's pliers, and I guess traditionally electricians use these. It's for bending and shaping and terminating heavy gauge wires. You can cut a big heavy number 10 solid core copper wire with this thing, and then you use the flat jaws to shape it and bend it and do other work. They also have a flat edge here for compressing insulation, so you can rip it off. There's a lot of uses for these. I've never had much use for these. They're very heavy in your hand and very hardened steel. It's a very electrician's tool, I think. And, you definitely, as a beginner or someone who's starting to collect tools, you look at this and you think it's a great pair of pliers, but you don't use these much. Another electrician's tool that I use a lot is, and these are kind of pliers but kind of not, these are called wire stripper pliers. Okay, wire strippers. They have a little plier in the end there, and then they have these terminals where if it says number 16, number 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, that corresponds to a wire size. You stick it in there, compress it, and it cuts just enough insulation and leaves the copper in place. These are probably the better kind. Don't get the fancy kind with all the terminal crimpers and everything on it, because they just don't do the job as well. If you're going to buy wire strippers, buy a basic pair of wire strippers. My advice. Okay? You don't need all that other fancy stuff. If you're going to do crimping, get a crimper. If you're going to do wire stripping, just get a wire stripper, because I've never had one that does both. Everyone's familiar with this. This is a pair of vice grip pliers. This is a vice grip brand, vice grip pliers. There's different kinds. They have different jaw configurations. I like these ones the best. They do the most. They have the ones with just a straight jaw for sheet metal, and they have the one that's shaped like a bolt, so you can take bolts off. Never take bolts off with the vice grip pair of pliers. It is the worst thing you could possibly do, unless you're really in a pinch and a bind and you're stuck, and you have no alternative. Go for the vice grips. Otherwise, these hardened jaws just eat away the metal of a nut, and then it just makes matters worse. One thing to look for when you're buying vice grip pliers is, if possible, get the ones with the wire cutter here. Even though I've never used it, they're nice to have. And get the ones that are welded over here. One piece welded. Frequently they'll have a rivet like this holding this upper jaw on right there. You don't want that. It's just another point of failure and it gets loose. There's a couple of ways to use these. The way I normally do it is, if I'm putting out a nut, I'll stick it on there, right? Close it, and then turn the screw until I can close it, and then once I can, I'll just back it off like an eighth of a turn, and then that's the perfect tension. Again, they make these in different configurations. They make these a needle nose version of a vice grip here, and they make smaller ones of these for all different kinds of applications, and they make them for welding clamps and all manner of other stuff. This is a pair of snap ring pliers. I just recently used these to take the bearings out of a hub steering knuckle of a car. There's also a million other applications for these things. Definitely, again, for a beginner, you'll never need these. Okay, if you need them, go buy them, but don't buy them right off the bat. There's different kinds of snap rings. There's the ones that you need to compress to take them out, inside snap rings, and then if you flip this lever here, you have the outside ones where you stick it in there and you need to expand the snap ring to get it out. So I'll do that again. This is the one where you need to expand a snap ring, and if you close it and jog it, this is the one where you need to compress a snap ring. Okay, awesome set of pliers. It's a Craftsman item, I think. Yeah, this is a Craftsman professional set of snap ring pliers. And last but not least is a pair of hose clamp pliers. They make all kinds. This one here is for taking out the kind with the wire clips, but I use them for all different purposes. It has a little locking mechanism, so once you compress the hose clamp, it doesn't come back up, and you can wiggle it off. It works really well. Now, my advice to the beginner is get one of these mid-sized channel lock pliers. Get the channel lock brand if you can afford it. They're made of really good metal. They're made in USA, and they last forever. You buy these, and there's no moving parts in them. They will last forever. The other one I'd go for is a good set of needle nose pliers. Again, don't go cheap on these. They're real pain in the butt to use, cheap needle nose pliers. They don't do the job. Everything's twice as hard. You know, it's a real nuisance. A pair of regular angle dikes, the cheap ones, the small ones. If you want, you can upgrade to the bigger ones, but you probably won't need these right off the bat. These are the most common ones. A little slight offset on them, 15 degree maybe. Good for cutting household, you know, stuff, coat hangers, zip ties. You can cut even the nails with this. Pull nails out of a tire. If these channel lock pliers will actually even cut paper. That's how good these are. You know, after years of use, they can still, you know, cut paper. Okay, so that's how good these dikes are. So stay sharp for years. Just ruined a perfectly good Harbor Freight coupon there, but that's okay. I get plenty of those. Next, definitely get a pair of vice grips. If you're a beginner, just get these. I think this is the 8-inch size, maybe. But you know, you can see it in my hand. I think this may be the 10-inch size. It says 10 WR, so it's probably 10-inch size. Great for clamping stuff, and you know, great for taking out nuts and bolts if you need to. You know, if you're limited in resources, I'll weld on a nut to a frozen nut and bolt or a broken nut and bolt and get it out that way. But if you got nothing else to work with, you know, you can definitely get one of these. Well, hope this helped. Please leave your comments or suggestions for future tool videos if you have any. I have a lot of tools. Whatever you want to see, throw it out there and I'll make a video. Stay safe and have a good day.